stormed some kind of like big financial institution linked into Goldman and Sachs, and when they heard that the Port of Oakland had shut down our port, they went crazy.
Yeah.
And we're still trying to figure out what Maui and Honolulu did. So yeah, we did it. We coordinated a day of action up and down the coast and all around the world. So it's pretty beautiful, but we gotta stand in solidarity with our comrades in Houston who got brutalized. All right, thank you.
San Diego has 5 arrests.
Up next, San Diego has 5 arrests. You know, it's not like we didn't think that they were against us, right? Now we're out here fighting. We're out here fighting because we know it's right, not because the police okay it. We're fighting for what's right, and what's right is not always what's legal. And you know, if I would have said that in high school, a lot of teachers would have disagreed with me, and I would have got in trouble. So it brings me a lot of pleasure to introduce our next speaker, who is not only a teacher, but is head of the Oakland Education Association, who is down with shutting this port down and has been down with Occupy Oakland. Her name is Betty Olson-Jones. Give it up.
Thank you, and if I'd had boots in my class, I would have said, right on, what do you want to talk about? And I love the last rap. Every child should learn that. That's what kids are ripe for, thinking and wondering and questioning what's going on. They should not be little test score factories. We've got to overturn that. I just want to say everybody looks really beautiful, and this morning at 5:30 in the morning, 1,000 people looked incredible. And this afternoon when there are even more going out there, we look wonderful. Not only is something like this going to cause a lot of people to say, well, it's not legal, it's also going to cause a lot of people to say, well, it's not popular, and why do you do this? We've been hearing that a lot since a week ago when Oakland Education Association Representative Council, which represents all 101 schools in Oakland, voted overwhelmingly to support the port blockade. We've been told, why are you doing that? Why did you make that decision? So I want to read you the motion that we passed and then tell you why we did it. The motion was, I move that the OEA will endorse the Oakland Port shutdown mobilization on December 12th in solidarity with the Occupy movement, the Teamsters and drivers at the Port of Oakland, and the ILWU, especially in the Bay Area and Local 21 in Longview, Washington, which is under attack. We shall encourage our members to participate outside of regular work hours. So why did we take this position? From the beginning of the Occupy movement, we've had teachers who work with kids every day and who see what happens to kids when they leave school and can't find jobs or end up with loans for the rest of their lives or end up in prison. We feel very close to the Occupy movement. We've been part of the General Assemblies, we've been part of the committees, we were part of helping to provide the porta potties for the first month. And on November 2nd, we had hundreds of teachers who got substitutes and came out and went to the port and were a part of this beautiful demonstration. All the bright green shirts were teachers that are coming as part of the 99%. So we urged our teachers to support this movement, to support the truck drivers who are trying to get out from being independent contractors, to support the longshore workers. We've been doing this for almost a decade. For almost 10 years we've been saying Oakland is not a poor city and the port is not a poor port. They do $30 billion in business every year. We've participated in community pickets that draw the connection between wars overseas and the fact that they're having to close schools here at home and cut off social services. That is obscene. So we've advocated to the port that they figure out a way. Tax containers $1 each, tax airline passengers 10 cents each. There are a lot of ways to supplement the absolutely pathetic earnings that come from the state for education and public social services. And we have, all of our pleas have fallen on deaf ears. So we're out there to continue that struggle with all of you to say Oakland is not a poor city. When they say they don't have the money, it's a question of priorities. We need to change our priorities, make sure that students are really educated, and that doesn't mean tested to death. It means educated to think, The wealth of the 1% in Oakland can certainly assist in leveling the playing field for all children and all of us who are suffering under being the 99%. Thank you all for coming out today, and let's keep it really strong. Thank you. I forgot. And there's, on Thursday, protest Chevron's tax grab. Thursday, December 15th, there's a noon rally. It's a classic 1% ripoff. And if you want more information about protesting Chevron's tax grab, see Eduardo Martinez right here next to me.
We know that the problem are corporations whose bottom line is profits. This year, Chevron has $17 billion profit, but they want $150 million of taxes that they already paid to the county of Contra Costa. They want it back. That would bankrupt the city of Richmond at $90 million take back. But what they really want is to have their way with Richmond so they can redo their plant and process tar sand in our community. We can't let that happen. So please help us. Protest Chevron's tax grab in Martinez, 651 Pine Street, Thursday, December 15th, 11:30 a.m. So I have flyers, I'll be passing them out, and hope to see you there. Thank you.
Up next, we have somebody that's been organizing really hard with Occupy Oakland. She's a teacher at UC Berkeley, Lale Bebehanian.
Oakland! I am so proud of us today, Oakland. We are beautiful and amazing. We have shut down the Port of Oakland today. And I want to take a minute and I want us to really think about what it is that we are achieving here today. Right? We're standing in solidarity with port workers who are struggling for decent wages, for better working conditions, for the right to unionize. But we are doing more than that. We are challenging the power and the greed of Wall Street and corporations like EGT and Goldman Sachs. But we are doing more than that. We are a movement that occupies. And what is it that we have occupied today? We have occupied the Port of Oakland, and this is what historically would have been called the Commons, part of the public spaces and the public resources that belong to the people of Oakland. The entire history of capitalism and colonialism has been premised upon extracting the commons from the people, privatizing public lands, extracting natural resources, ravaging the forests and the fields. This system is premised upon dispossessing us of our commons. Capitalism depends on a working class. Workers upon whose backs profit can be extracted. But let us not forget that this working class had to be created. Forcibly created by dispossessing the people of their commons, violently separating from them from the lands and the rivers and the forests off which they had always survived. People who could freely fish and farm and herd had no need to work in a factory for a wage. Woo! The only way to create a class of exploitable workers is to completely cut them off from the common resources so that their only means of survival is to work for a measly wage. Woo! In the history of Europe, this was achieved in the 18th centuries by what was called the enclosure. enclosures. A bloody and violent period where the people were forcibly removed from the commons and forced to flood into the new factories in a desperate effort to survive. This was achieved throughout the rest of the world through colonialism and the extraction of indigenous resources and lands. It is through dispossessing us of our commons that capitalism and colonialism have rendered us vulnerable to their exploitation. And these forms of dispossession continue today. We see our collective resources, our commons being privatized, our public spaces, our natural resources, our public system of education. And the violence of the enclosures continues today when police across this nation are forcibly removing people from their public lands. When OPD violently raids our Oscar Grant Plaza and the city has the gall to actually build a fence around it to try and keep us out. We are standing here today as the people of Oakland to say that these are our commons. The Port of Oakland does not belong to EGT or Goldman Sachs or anyone else who tells us we don't belong there. It belongs to the people of Oakland.